何をしている。攻撃しろ。
そんなことできるわけがないだろう。竜帝の僕を前にして。
All right, my friends, today we are reviewing the Do-Over Damsel episode number 3, and I have to just be honest and upfront with you guys. You know, the Do-Over Damsel episode 1 and 2, I think really solidified this show as one of the gems or like the highlights of the season. That I genuinely do think this show deserves more attention. But in light of transparency and in light of just being honest with you guys, I think the episode 3 was just mediocre at best. I don't feel like it really moved the story really far ahead, because really 75% of the episode was just Jill, you know, coming up with the plan and then executing the plan and basically just showing us how overpowered that she is, which still to me is not something that I really want the show to highlight that much, because it's like once you start thinking about it, it's like, okay, how is she still overpowered? How can she still access whatever power she has? How can she still access it in such a young age? It obviously took her several years to become, you know, the devil of the North or whatever she was before. So how is it that she can easily access all of those abilities now? Now, the show, you can tell, has a very much, hey, don't ask the questions you don't need to know the answer to kind of vibe, which is completely fine. Like, I don't really need to know the nitty gritty of, you know, how she's still able to access it. It's just, you know, she was OP and then now she's OP. But then if you think about it, you know, for a second, is like, okay, if she's this OP, how does she really allow herself to die before? Now we saw it, right? Like she got hit by like this big arrow spear thing that had like a mind of its own. But if she's really this OP, should that even have been able to kill her? The answer to me really seems like no. But regardless, it's one of those things to where it's like, turn your brain off, don't think about the details, don't you worry about it. But when the show begins to highlight, and a lot of shows do this kind of like heinous anime crime, is they don't want you to think about certain elements or certain things of the show because, you know, the author doesn't have an answer to it, which is fine. Most times that you have manga or light novels that are serialized, meaning that they come out weekly, bi-weekly, or they come out in some kind of cadence, the author really pitches a story, pitches, you know, the thing, and then they kind of make the story up as they go. But what ends up happening is, as you kind of keep showing us a thing that we, you know, at first we're like, I kind of want to know about that, and you're like, oh, I guess I kind of, you know, I should know about it. And you know, by the 4th or 5th or 6th time, it shows you like, yo, just, you know, let's just spend an episode or spend a chapter just telling us on what the hell happened here. So that's the thing, is like her powers and her power level, you know, she's like 10 years old or 12 or something like that, you know, 10 or 12 years old. It's like, okay, well, how can she access her powers that she doesn't get till 4 or 6 years later? So that's the one thing. Then the rest of the episode, like I said, 75% of it was just Jill coming up with the plan, executing the plan, and all of that was just totally fine. The blonde-haired girl went on some monologue as Jill's just basically allowing it to happen for her just to go, wow, you know, clothes change. I'm actually the boogeyman. And everyone goes, oh, she's the boogeyman. You know, so it's 75% of the episode's that. Then it starts to get juicy. Then, you know, some of the details, some of the things that make it good end up coming out that last 25%. The Dragon Emperor cooking, making a souffle. The Dragon Emperor coming at the end of the episode to, you know, kind of save Jill and, you know, control the dragons. That's all cool. Jill subduing the actual enemy and, you know, saving the day, saving the girl from getting stabbed by some priest. That's all good and that's cool. So I think the last 25% was really good. You know, figuring out the Marquise's plan. I think that portion of the episode was pretty good stuff. One of the things that was really lacking for me in this episode, and maybe you had a moment or two that occurred for you, but for me, I didn't laugh. And one of the things that episode 1 and 2 really did for me was they had a lot of comedic moments. Now, and not necessarily that they were trying to be comedy or that they were trying to be overly funny, but they just had some naturally comedic moments that occurred that made me really like have to pause, and because I was like laughing so much. I didn't have any moment like that this episode. For the most part, my eyes kind of glazed over a couple of times and had to pause like twice. I was like, oh, this is kind of like a boring ass episode. So that's really what episode 3 was missing for me. So if I had to put this on a scale, I really genuinely think, and I know it's going to be a really hard pill to swallow, especially if you're really, really loving it. I think episode 3 was like a 5 out of 10 for me. It was very, very, very mediocre at best. Now, I do think better is coming, right? I think episode 1 and 2 gives it enough grace and gives enough allowance to show that, you know, if they can just repeat some of the elements and things that really made episode 1 and 2 really great in episode 4 or 5 or 6, the show's going to be fine for it, and it'll continue to be fine. But I just don't think that episode 3 was that strong of an episode. Now, if I put 1, 2, and 3 together, the show's still rocking at a 7.5, 8 out of 10. Definitely still one of those hidden gems of the season. Definitely a show that deserves more people to be talking about it. Definitely is worth the watch for me and you. I just don't think episode 3 was that strong because it wasted a lot of the viewers' time. And when anime does that, I just kind of feel a little slighted by it because my time is really valuable. So that's kind of what I have to say about episode number 3. I think it was just a fine, okay episode. The 25% wasn't good enough to make me forget about the other 75% that really didn't do much for me at all. So that's my opinion on the episode. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. As always, I appreciate you just giving me a little bit of your time here to talk about the Do-Over Damsel episode number 3. I think it's going to get better as the Emperor has come onto the scene. And yeah, I think it's going to get pretty good. And hopefully we'll get those comedic elements when Jill and the Emperor get back together. All right, friends. I'll see you guys next week for episode 4. See you then. Peace.